just real quick for you, I'm Joshua. If you guys don't know that, you guys know me as Sparky. We also got Dopest Goat in here. How's it going, Goat?
How's it going? How's it going?
For sure. So, just so you guys know, real quick, we are not any sort of trained professionals. We did not go to college for this. We're just some cool dudes that kind of know what we're talking about. So, we do choose to share that with y'all every Sunday night. Um, so, with that being said, as long as you guys all understand that, we'll go ahead and get right into this. Um, First off, we're gonna just go ahead, do what we always do and look at the kind of general market of everything. So pull up Weeble here, and this is Spy. You got anything to say about Spy?
Um, Let me pull it up real quick. So it essentially did what we talked about. If anybody caught us last Sunday, I said that if it pushed up that and it continued green, that we could see it get close to that 339 level. Last week we saw the highest ask, I believe, around 338.28. And so it just continued to push up. It found a resistance around that level, around a previous all-time high. And now we're waiting to see what it's going to do coming up. Excuse me, this week. A lot of things to consider are earnings coming up and the fact that it's moved fairly horizontal towards the end of last week. So it's an indicator that it's looking for a move. Now, with all these earnings coming up, I believe SPY holds NVIDIA, Alibaba, and Walmart, which we'll get into a little bit later. But those could help drive it beyond its previous all-time highs. And we may even see a huge gap up once it breaks that level, because whenever stuff likes to break level, so on the 1 year, 1 day on Fibs, it'll break the 100% level. So generally when something breaks the 100% level on Fibs, it likes to leg up or gap up. And so along with that, we may be able to make huge options plays on it. I'd be careful playing options through earnings on the stuff this week, even if it is encompassed within SPY. There's one thing that I feel everybody should kind of look up and figure out what it is, but it's called IV crush. So your implied volatility when you're holding through earnings, your premium increases in value just due to the amount of volume in the market going on. So as soon as the earnings come out, if you're still holding your options, the volatility automatically decreases and you'll lose some money on that premium. Just heads up for those of you looking to play something and hold it over that. Not saying that it is not the move, because you can definitely make money if something has a killer earnings. But there is something called an IV crush, and if you want to learn more about it, look it up. That's a pretty basic explanation. I don't think that's too hard to understand. But yeah, that's about all that I have for SPY. So I guess next week we're looking at what levels. So one thing that I like to always use are the bots that we have within our Discord. And I'll just go ahead and do Fibonacci levels for SPY using that bot in the stream chat. So I believe it is not wanting to work for us at the moment. All right. So let me go back. What I'm looking for is for this horizontal pattern to continue until these earnings come out. So I'm looking at it kind of playing around 334 to 338 this week, and then after that, I keep up with earnings. So if you see a bunch of bad earnings coming out, I'd assume that it'd leg down beyond. I could see it hit 323 next week, and if it gaps up, who knows, because of it not being a previous. There's no previous information that's equal to the same price in the past of SPY. But yeah, other than that, I don't have a whole lot on SPY that I'm looking at. Just keep an eye on those earnings, and then keep an eye on this resistance level throughout the week.
Cool. So next we're gonna talk about the Dow. So we're seeing something kind of similar on this. It's always pretty similar to SPY. However, we have not moved up as much as SPY has compared to all-time highs. So we did, last week we talked about this potentially taking another leg up, and we did come up, and we got rejected kind of by this pre-corona low right here. So right here about $28,175. And then we did see this kind of start to consolidate through last week. We can see the sideways movement here. So what I'm looking for is for this to continue, hopefully in a cup and handle kind of form here. If we look at this more on a 5-minute chart, I'm hoping for this to come down and form a solid cup, all the way up back here to this 28, and then to finish that cup and handle with that handle formation, breaking out above this $28,000 level here. And if it does so happen to do that, we would be looking for it to potentially come up and start testing these high levels. There's not much resistance between here and there. We would be looking at a midpoint here about 28,742 with the Dow. And then beyond that, then just this all-time high up here around 29,500-ish. So that's what we're looking for this week. Now, if it does happen to fail in this cup and handle and fall back down, our first support would be this 27,759 level. Beyond that, we're looking at a steady drop back down to possibly 26,000-ish down here on this level. So 26,983-ish would be that next level that I would expect it to kind of stop at. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for on the Dow. I'm expecting it to be a pretty good week. Just a continuation up back to this 28,000 level. Hopefully it'll probably be a pretty sideways week with all these earnings coming out, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But yeah, I think it's going to be good coming up here soon. So with that being said, or Caleb, did you have any other stocks?
I mean, other than earnings related, not necessarily earnings and news related, not really.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and pull up some articles here then. So we have a bunch of big box retail stores doing earnings this week. You guys can find an earnings calendar on Yahoo Finance. Just go to Yahoo Finance and type in earnings calendar.
I'll drop the earnings whispers one right now.
Cool. So yeah, he's gonna post the earnings whispers so you guys can see a lot of the main ones coming up. Well, if you want to see all of the earnings coming up this week, you can come in here and it will show you all the earnings being announced, before market, after market, and all that good stuff. So throughout the week, some of the big ones that we're looking for this week, you'll also see this on that earnings report, but we're looking here at these retail earnings. Okay, so we got things like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Kohl's, TJ Maxx, Ross. So there's a lot of retail brick and mortar stores this week giving us that data or those earnings, and we're definitely going to see that reflected in the market. I do not plan on personally playing any of these, but I think there is lots of opportunity here if you guys do decide to do that. We can always anticipate our AI bot to give alerts, because I'm sure there will be lots of movement throughout these stocks this week. So just be sure to be watching for those alerts. Let's see. Yeah. So those are the big guys coming out this week. There's not a lot of news going on. Nothing really exciting happening. That's why I'm just kind of expecting this week to be a consolidation week, similar to last week. Not much downward movement, not much upward movement. It's just going to stay pretty sideways unless some really important or relative news is released this week. Okay. Other than that, Caleb, do you have anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so Walmart is one that I'm closely watching personally, just because it is at a all-time high, kind of like SPY is looking like. And so I believe last quarter their e-commerce online sales increased by 74%. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is on this next coming earnings and if it's sustained. Because if earnings beat expectations or even meet expectations, you might even be able to see it begin to push past its new levels or its current highs. Uh, so that's just one that I'm going to look at closely for options coming up in this week because we may see the value begin to trade up anyways. But that's just a heads up on kind of what exactly I'm looking at. Alibaba, I haven't looked too much into it, but there's talks of Trump discussing banning Alibaba from the United States. But their earnings are also coming up this week. So that's going to be a pretty interesting contradicting type of movement. So as you would assume, if Trump is expecting Alibaba to be banned, then you'd assume that the stock value would go down. However, during COVID, e-commerce has increased so much that Alibaba might be safe from that regardless just through their earnings. So that's another one that's pretty interesting that I'd like to just keep my eye on and see how it performs. I may not even trade on it at all. And then one more topic that I wanted to just touch on is that OPEC is reducing their barrel decrease. So I believe they're instead of capping it at 9 million or decreasing by 9 million, they're decreasing by 7 million now, or 7.7 million. But other than that, I don't have anything specifically that I'm looking at this week. So yeah.
Cool. And of course, you guys do know Apple, Tesla, they're both splitting. We talked about that last week. It gets talked about in the group every day. So just be sure to watch those. They're definitely going to be seeing a lot of volume. Tesla has been rallying. I do expect it to stay green. Apple will most likely stay green as well. These are both very high cap stocks, very reliable companies. In both, I think they're both going to do good up to the split because people want to get in before the split. So yeah, that's my thoughts on those two guys. Just pay attention. Again, the AI bot is giving out plays on both of these stocks every day. And most of them do play out pretty well. So if you guys, I think most of you have those alerts. So yeah, just be sure to watch those. If you guys don't know how to read the alerts that are being sent, make sure to ask us so we can explain it to you so you guys can actually use them and utilize them. Lots of really big plays have came from them. But make sure that you're always doing your due diligence on the alerts. It is just a robot picking up certain signals from the market and alerting it to us, so it cannot analyze it itself. So make sure to always analyze those alerts before you play on them. Okay, it just gives us a place to look. All right. But other than that, that's the market analysis for this week. I think it's gonna kind of just slowly consolidate with a slight upward direction. Caleb, what's your overall thought on it?
I'm pretty. It's a pretty difficult time because I generally base my overall market confidence off of the S&P, and since it's at a previous high and all these earnings are coming out, I'm gonna bank on it legging up, and I'm gonna sit fairly bullish on this week. It might see some horizontal pattern until more earnings come out, but I think Walmart and Nvidia and Baba are just gonna push SPY through the roof on that. So overall, I think I'm sitting fairly bullish this week, but I'm not very confident on that. We'll put it that way.
Awesome. Well, that's it, guys. If you guys have any more questions, you can always hit us up in the group. And we'll be on for a couple more hours tonight online to kind of help answer some questions if you guys have any. So just let us know in the general chat, in the alpha chat, whatever chat you want to, we'll be there. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow.